Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Mansoor, head of the Department of Prosthodontics, Frontier Medical and Dental College, Ahmedabad. Today I will be taking second online lecture on direct retainers. As it is a lengthy topic, therefore I will be covering the topic in 3 lectures. I have divided this lecture in 2 parts. In first part, I will be explaining the direct retainer and different parts of clasp, while in second part, I will be explaining the basic principles of clasp design. The component part of removable partial denture applied to resist the movement away from the teeth or tissue and provides retention for the prosthesis is called the direct retainer. Or a direct retainer is any unit of a removable dental prosthesis that engages an abutment tooth to resist displacement of the prosthesis away from basal seat. This is the direct retainer, this one. There are 2 types of retentions, primary and secondary. Primary retention for the removable partial denture is accomplished by placing direct retainer or clasp on the abutment teeth. This one, this is a clasp. While the secondary retention is provided by the denture bases and intimate contact of the minor connector with the guiding planes, this one. There are 2 types of direct retainers, extracoronal retainer and intracoronal retainer. The extracoronal retainer, known as clasp, is the most commonly used retainer for removable partial dentures, while the intracoronal retainer may be cast or may be attached totally within the restored natural contours of an abutment tooth. The intracoronal retainer is usually regarded as an internal or precision attachment. Now, what is a clasp or clasp assembly? Clasp is a part of a removable dental prosthesis that acts as a direct retainer or stabilizer for a prosthesis by partially encircling or contracting an abutment tooth. These are the different parts of a clasp, which I am going to explain you one by one. This is the retentive arm or retentive terminal, the reciprocal arm, the shoulder, body, rest, and minor connector. The retentive arm is a segment of removable partial denture which engages an undercut and is designed to retain the denture. Retentive clasp arm is not flexible. and located above the height of contour, whereas the retentive terminal, this one, is flexible and located below the height of contour. The function of the retentive terminal is to resist displacement and thus maintain the prosthesis in its proper position. The reciprocal arm of clasp is a rigid arm, this one. This is the retentive arm and this is the reciprocal arm. The reciprocal arm of clasp is a rigid clasp arm opposite to the retentive clasp arm and is placed above the height of contour on the side of tooth. Now, what are the functions of the reciprocal arm of clasp? Number one, it counterbalances the stress generated against the tooth by the retentive arm and provide reciprocation and stability. It contributes horizontal stability, gives support and limited amount of retention. Reciprocal arm prevents rocking to a minor degree. Shoulder, this one. This is the shoulder. Shoulder is that part of clasp which connects the body to the clasp terminals. It lies above the height of contour and provides stability against horizontal movement. Body is that part of the clasp that connects wrist and shoulders of clasp to minor connector. It is rigid and lies above the height of contour. Body is designed in such a way that it contacts the guide plane of abutment during insertion and removal. Tissue surface of body clasp, which is closely related to the guide plane, is known as proximal plate. My previous lecture was about the rest. All students who have attended my lecture know about the rest. Rest, this one, is that part of the clasp that lies on the occlusal, lingual, or incisal surface of a tooth and resist tissue-ward movement of the clasp by ensuring that the retentive terminals of the clasp remain fixed in the desired or planned position. This is the minor connector. I have already taken lecture on minor connectors. You all know that it joins clasp with the remaining part of the metal framework. Approach arm is a component of the bar type of clasp. It is a minor connector that projects from the framework, runs across the mucosa, turns to cross the gingival margin of abutment tooth, to approach the undercut from the gingival direction. Clasps are classified in three categories based upon the type of material used. They are the cast clasp, the wrought clasp, and the combination clasp. Excuse me. The cast clasp is cast in gold or chromium cobalt alloy. It is widely used in almost 75% of removable partial denture cases. The wrought clasp is usually made of gold alloy wire. It is very resilient and have poor stabilizing properties. Therefore, it is not widely used. The combination clasp is a combination of a wrought chromium cobalt wire and a cast chromium cobalt alloy. The wrought wire can be used as a retentive arm, whereas the cast chromium cobalt alloy as body, occlusal rest, and reciprocal arm. It is capable of flexing in all directions. The cast part of the clasp helps in rigidity and stability of the clasp. The advantages of combination clasp are it has got thin line contact, so there will be less food impaction. It can flex in all directions and it has got greater flexibility, so can be placed in deeper undercut without any hazard to the abutment. The disadvantages of combination clasp are that it involves extra step in fabrication. It can easily be distorted by careless handling by the patient or may distort with function and not engage tooth. Clasps are classified in two types on the basis of design. The circumferential clasp and the bar type of clasp. Now, before moving on to principles of clasp design, it is vitally important to consider how tooth contour and removable partial denture components must be related to each other for a stable prosthesis. It is also important to know what is height of contour or point of maximum convexity. This critical area of an abutment that provides retention and stabilization can only be identified with the use of an instrument called dental cast surveyor. Prothero proposed cone theory of clinical crown in 1916 that stated that contours of clinical crown resemble two cones sharing a common base, this one. This base represents the greatest diameter of the tooth. This greatest diameter is called height of contour or point of maximum convexity, this one. This is the line marked by the surveyor at the greatest diameter of the tooth, known as the survey line or height of contour. The surface above or occlusal to the survey line is suprabulge or non-undercut area, and the surface below the survey line is called infrabulge or undercut area. You can see the undercut area below the survey line where the retentive terminal of clasp can be placed. When the surveyor blade contacts a tooth on the side at its greatest convexity, a triangle is formed, this one. The apex of this triangle is at the point of contact of surveyor blade with the tooth, and base is towards the gingival tissues. This apical angle is called angle of cervical convergence. The importance of this angle lies in its relationship to the amount of retention. Now I move to the second part of my lecture, that is the basic principles of clasp design. First of all, the principle of encirclement, which means that more than 180 degrees in the greatest circumference of the tooth must be engaged by the clasp assembly. In addition to encirclement, other basic principles of clasp design are: the occlusal rest must be designed to prevent movement of the clasp arm toward the cervical region. Clasp retainers on abutment teeth adjacent to distal extension bases should be designed so that they will avoid direct transmission of tipping and rotational forces to the abutment. Retentive arm should be opposed by a reciprocal arm. The amount of retention should always be the minimum necessary to resist reasonable dislodging forces. Reciprocal elements of the clasp assembly should be located at the junction of the gingival and middle third of the crown of abutment teeth. There are 6 basic properties or requirements of properly designed clasp. This is very important from examination point of view also. The 6 basic properties are retention, stability, support, reciprocation, encirclement, and passivity. I will explain them one by one. Now, the retention is the inherent quality of the class assembly that resist forces acting to dislodge components away from the tooth structure. No single component of a class assembly is solely responsible for prosthesis retention. Rather, it is effective design and accurate construction that make the removable partial denture retentive. Retention is obtained by incorporating the flexible terminal of the clasp into the undercut. This one. Sufficient undercut is to be engaged to obtain desired retention. Force from the clasp arm on flexing must be within the tolerance of the periodontal ligament of an abutment tooth. The amount of retention designed into a removable partial denture should always be the minimum necessary to resist reasonable dislodging forces. A rigid clasp flexing over the height of contour may transfer harmful stresses to an abutment during insertion, removal, and functional movement of the prosthesis. The factors that affect retention are divided into two categories. They are tooth factors and prosthesis factors. Tooth factors include the size of angle of cervical convergence and how far the clasp is placed in the angle of cervical convergence. Whereas prosthesis factors include the clasp length, clasp diameter, clasp cross-sectional form, and the material used for making clasp. This is the angle of cervical convergence. The amount of retention depends upon the size of the angle of cervical convergence and how far the clasp terminal is placed into the cervical convergence. The retention of the clasp depends upon the length of the clasp arm. Longer the clasp arms, the more flexible it will be. Circumferential clasps are more retentive than bar type of clasp. This is the circumferential clasp. This one is the bar clasp. The clasp arm should taper from the point of origin. You can see the taper. This is the point of origin. This is the taper. Therefore, the clasp arm should taper from the point of origin to provide its flexibility. Diameter of the clasp plays an important role in retention. The greater the diameter of a clasp arm, the less flexible it will be. If its taper is absolutely uniform, the average diameter will be at a point midway between its origin and its terminal end over here. But if taper is not uniform, then a point of weakness will exist. Round cross-sectional form of the clasp is able to flex in all directions. In the case of half-round form, flexibility is limited to only one direction. This one, half-round. Clasp arm should only flex away from tooth, so half-round clasp is used. Round-shaped clasp arm is used only in distal extension denture bases so that it can flex in all directions during functional movements to minimize stresses. Gold alloy have greater flexibility than chrome alloys. But disadvantage of cast gold alloys is that they have to be used in bulk, therefore they are costly. Chrome alloys have a higher modulus of excuse me. Chrome alloys have a higher modulus of elasticity and therefore they are less flexible. So in less undercut area, chromium cobalt alloy can be used, but in cases of deep undercut, wrought metal can be used. Now I come to the second property of clasp, that is stability. Stability is the quality of a clasp assembly that resists displacement of prosthesis in a horizontal direction. It helps the denture to be steady, firm, and resist displacement due to functional stresses. Stability is provided by the reciprocal arm, the shoulders of the clasp, and the minor connector. The third property of properly designed clasp is support. Support is the quality of a clasp assembly that resists displacement of prosthesis in an apical direction. Occlusal rest provides support. A properly prepared rest seat and corresponding rest serve to resist displacement of the prosthesis towards the supporting teeth and soft tissues. Rest transmits functional forces parallel to the long axis of abutments. Reciprocation is the quality of a clasp assembly that counteracts lateral displacement of an abutment when the retentive clasp terminal passes over the height of contour or maximum bulge area. As the retentive arm passes over the height of contour, it flexes, creating lateral forces on the abutment and hence damage the tooth. First point to be remembered while providing reciprocation is to optimize reciprocation in that the axial surface of an abutment should be prepared parallel to the path of insertion and removal. Second, it should be placed above the height of contour. Third, the reciprocal clasp arm must be in contact during the entire period of retentive clasp deformation. Fifth property of properly designed clasp is encirclement. Encirclement is the characteristic of a clasp assembly that prevents movement of an abutment away from the associated clasp assembly. Clasp assembly should have 180 degrees contact. The engagement can be in the form of continuous contact such as circumferential clasp or discontinuous contact such as bar clasp. Both provide tooth contact in at least 3 areas encircling the tooth. The last property of properly designed clasp is passivity. Passivity is the quality of a clasp assembly that prevents the transmission of adverse forces to the associated abutment when the prosthesis is completely seated. When prosthesis is fully seated, it should be passive. That means exert no pressure on the abutment tooth. It should be activated only when dislodging forces are applied. Now, apart from the basic principles, there are few other principles which should be considered while fabricating the clasp. The retentive clasp element should always be placed on the facial surface of tooth. Only one retentive element should be used per tooth opposed by a reciprocal element. And lastly, the clasp retainers on the abutment adjacent to distal extension bases should be designed so they will avoid direct transmission of tipping and rotational forces to the abutment. The mechanical properties of clasp alloy are: it should be strong enough to resist permanent distortion, elastic enough to regain their original shape, flexible enough to spring over the bulbous parts of the teeth, springy enough to apply the force required to hold the denture. Thank you very much.